So
who's your favorite UFC fighter?
Rashad Evans.
Okay, so we're still talking about crypto, but I just wanted to know real quick.
I guess you didn't even get it out all the way.
Yeah, you answer quick as hell.
He knows. It's always been Rashad.
For a long time.
Yeah, he don't even. Well, he's actually going to have some kind of fight. Not sure, but he's retired from
Yeah,
UFC.
I mean, I know who he is. I was watching UFC before it got cool. When it was a little grimy, and why are you watching people get beat to a pulp?
That was it. That was
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's why I had a hard time. Like, man, this is like fighting pit bulls, but it's like people.
You know, Cowboy Cerrone and GSP.
Oh yeah, you did WEC. That was
back like all of the Brazilian fighters. That's my boy right there.
Yeah. I respect.
That would be my favorite, actually. You know,
favorite.
Johnny Jones Bones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he cool, but Anderson Silva, he just have that.
Shout out to Anderson.
Oh man. He just not only can he talk. I mean, back up what he talks in. He don't really have to talk that much.
Yeah.
He just got his own personal style. Even the way he get in the ring is dope. You know?
Yeah. You know, he used to come by often. When I street performed.
You didn't know that?
Stop it. You got to start street performing. What are you saying?
Well,
because his gym is not too far from there, right? The one that he opened out here?
No, this was his management. Used to come down to California Kitchen and have pizza. They used to come right there. So, yeah.
I feel robbed.
I got a couple of pictures with him and stuff. It's like, it's crazy. And it was funny. It's weird because even to him, you know, I've had to say, Rashad Evans is one of my favorite fighters, but
damn.
Why would you tell him that?
It's just being real. You know, I still understand him, but you know, I can say that's one of the reasons why I started watching UFC. And then it was even back then, Rashad Evans.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was even this YouTube video.
He's a cool guy, though.
Oh, yeah. Man, amazing
super
guy.
Cool.
Just the more I learned about him.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but what I do know of him and his
He's
story,
still doing a lot of stuff outside of the cage.
Right.
That's amazing. And he had this video. It was like a highlight video of him winning Tough, the Ultimate Fighter show.
Right. Oh,
and
shit.
Man,
so y'all even
like
watched that.
Man, it was
real
the highlight.
Yeah.
The highlight video was just crazy. And there was some music behind it. It was a whole little thing about the presentation, but just, how they talked about, he just fight with so much spirit and it's just, just showing a lot of clips. And that kind of it came on and then, the rest was after that, knockouts left and right.
Yeah. I love that. I didn't know that you all were into UFC like that.
Oh yeah, he's a diehard
fan.
I wouldn't say diehard because there's some real diehard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it
but
is.
I play the game. Basically.
Okay, I probably started watching like 2007. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I used to watch it.
It might have been around the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, really watching. Before I looked at it a little bit, but as far as like, okay, it's fight night or it's about to be a tournament or a championship or whatever. And then I think when I saw the Diaz brothers, it was Cali too, because they used to always come out to Tupac. Yeah. And I was like, yes. Yeah. Like,
I love
this is
them
it.
guys too, man.
Yeah.
It's just, I got so much respect for all of the fighters because it's a complete different mind-bending sport. Just what them people can do. Even when playing the game, it has so much to do. Even like you could lose a certain way, and it's not like certain games, shooting games. What is it? Rainbow Six will mess with me mentally if I got to clutch anything one-on-one and trying to clutch. It'll I can't say mentally. It mess with your headache. You can have a headache afterwards. But UFC is a game actually that kind of gets your testicles. Well, for me as a male.
I don't know that feeling.
But for a loss, a certain loss, and it got to be adrenaline or it just got to be testosterone to a certain degree as well, that it's a certain, almost like the loss is damn near, is fun as the win because it's the loss sometimes that'll get you more like, all right,
And it's gonna be a
Fuck it, I'ma run it
rematch
back.
behind that one too.
I'm coming back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I gotta
coming
have
back.
my say because this wasn't right.
And that's just the video game.
Right. I don't know anything about
That's
it.
just the video. So when it comes to dealing, of course, how they say with the fight world, and yeah, testosterone has a lot to do with everything, and the whole science of it's more mental than than physical, from women and men. Because of course you look at the women that fight as well, and that's a whole nother level of respect.
Yeah,
It's
cool. They get down, and I mean, Ronda Rousey gets a lot of props, but there's so many other people within that realm.
Oh yeah, they definitely have moved past her as far as on the prop side.
But I think what she did was take the spotlight and put it on her so long that she was able to give a lot of other women there that shine, from what I saw, because she ended up in a lot of commercials. Yeah. And she was somebody that Dana was like, okay, you're going to be the one for the women who's going to like push it and take it and
she
run.
was one of the first faces of it like that, I could say.
She was.
But I can also say, being a fan of the sport, she was a terrible champ.
She was a crybaby.
She was a
I used to call her Crybaby Rousey, and that's real. Sorry.
Well, I won't say Crybaby Rousey.
Man, she used to always start crying, man.
But
like,
that's all that's the fight game. Though.
Not crying like tears, like whining about losses. Yeah. I'm not. I shit. If I got knocked in the head, I'm pretty sure I would cry too. But that's not. I'm talking about. You know how LeBron is always crying about some totally poor sportsmanship. That's what I mean. And I'm not a fan of poor sportsmanship.
When I say terrible champ, when I mean just like, yeah, it kind of did a little bit with it was her image thing as well. But going into, I think, the Holly Holmes fight kind of did some things mentally. And it was, I don't know. Like I said, all fighters don't touch gloves. So touching gloves, hey, I see that
what
as
do you
respect,
think about that for the people who don't touch gloves? Do you think that they're not good sports? Or are they just in their zone and they're like,
it depends on it depends on what was said.
Because you're supposed to bow to the person when you're in karate, right?
I can say you still say it depends on what was said leading up to the fight. I'm almost positive Holly Holmes ain't say nothing that was that disrespectful to where she couldn't get a hand tap. We talking the preacher's daughter,
right?
So,
well, PK.
That was one thing that just kind of was like, and then she lost the fight. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, I guess that's what, not just her, but with other fighters, you can put that together with the respect. If you notice the disrespect, it's just, I don't think I remember. I don't remember Rashad not touching gloves. Most fighters touch gloves. Period.
That's the
it's a part of the sport.
I think that's just the least you can do.
Like I said, I can see if y'all have talked shit.
Yeah.
Even
when you have talked shit.
I don't know, but if you Conor and Khabib, I don't know. That's sometimes, I don't know. But
okay,
respect still.
Yeah,
like I said, that's one thing coming in, and she didn't keep fighting. She did come back and did the Amanda Nunes, but then if she wasn't the champ, she just was, I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what the crybaby piece is about. It's not real tears. It's the whole personality, the persona, the aura that
and it's mental,
I'm going to take my ball and go home the minute that
I can't win.
Yeah, then I don't want to do it no more.
But it's a tough ass sport.
Man, really I'm not getting in the ring with nobody to punch my lights out like that. I don't care who's there. Yeah. I give all respect. So I'm a talking head where I can even say she didn't do this or he didn't do that. You couldn't pay me no. I look like Martin on that episode when he got in the ring. It would be just like that. Like I go in there with all the confidence in the world, but in the end, my eye would be swollen, my ear would be big, and I'd be like, "Baby, you still love me?" Because I'd be fucked up. I'm never pretending like I could do it, but I love watching it. and I can have an opinion because I'm not in there.
Right.
You know, that's just it. I could just have an opinion, but I do love the sport, and I have questioned why I like blood sport. Because I like boxing. But boxing isn't the same as UFC.
I can't
so
do boxing.
what
It's
can
too
you
long.
say? But you watch UFC.
I can almost do
It's
boxing
UFC
now.
is more violent.
UFC helped me be able to do
No,
boxing.
the blood and all of that turns me off about UFC. It's hard for me to watch somebody that's like,
I mean, they be bloody.
getting their ass
bleeding
whipped.
and got like swollen and like
ear
swollen
bro.
eyes.
But
Yeah,
it's
I
not
can't watch
too
that.
often
It's-
you really get that.
You get it, man. Look at the fighters and how they look. If they've been fighting, look at BJ Penn. I remember
Yeah.
there was a fight when it was him. I strongly believe, and maybe it's not, and I'm getting him confused with somebody else. But he said, I promised my wife this would be the last fight because when I come home, my kids are horrified. Because we just see the last, the after interview, but think about what happens. You
family and
turning
kids
purple
be
and
hurt.
black, you swollen, you watching your daddy just get pummeled, and then you got to come home and recover from that repeatedly over years. That's a bit traumatic.
But even like looking at with BJ at the part of his career where he had to say that, it was after.
It was at the end.
It was at the end.
Yeah.
Right. It was more of. And I could say with a lot of fighters, it's more of the end of your career with the UFC, not necessarily fighting. Because plenty of fighters have taken that 3 loss, gotten them through the losses where you get kicked out your contract with the UFC and you go over to another organization and you still getting paid. No, they don't even come back to the UFC.
You just
still
saying
getting
go
paid.
over
'Cause
there.
you got Bellator, PFL, you got a lot of other main stages now, super stages. One champion, they got a lot of stuff out there right now to where if you don't feel like, UFC is one of the biggest. It's like the major record label to a certain degree.
Okay, yes, death row. But my point is,
Yeah.
why do we?
Let them tell
think
it.
about it.
Let
like
them
in
fighters
every,
tell it. They damn sure say yeah. It's
literally,
like
and
death
Dana
row.
shook. But why do we like it? This is what is it?
Okay, so
what is it about fighting?
One of my
Mixed
strongest
martial
respects.
arts, like I wanted to learn some of these things, like Muay Thai and different.
Same.
So I guess that's that part of it. I can do it. I can watch it a lot better than like boxing. Boxing is just like, it's boxing. Like UFC is a lot of different techniques. Somebody's coming in with.
I was gonna say that too.
Wants to wrestle. Somebody's coming in with
BJ Penn last fight. He didn't get beat up. The guy rolled in on him, got him in the leg lock, and tapped him out.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
what
that
I
was
love,
quick.
That's what I love about the sport too.
That was a good fight too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you gotta love about the sport. I mean, about the sport. Period. It's just.
I done seen some wild taps.
Oh man, they're getting better. They're getting better. That's what I love about it too. You seeing more technical stuff. Even Michael Venom Page, he got a weird leg tap off a guy one time, and it was so confident. He knew what he was doing. We've never seen it, but he knew it was coming, and he got the guy and wrapped him in the guy.
Yeah.
We're still looking for the technical. Where was the pain at?
Right. I think when I first saw a rear naked choke, I was like, "This is a wild ass sport." When like a Superman or a hammer fist, it was something. And I know, because I'm asking you guys, but I know why I am attracted to that type of sport. It's not just visceral.
I respect the fighters.
I used to do a lot of fighting when I was a kid. So there's that. That's a whole nother principal office type thing. I was that kid. Surprisingly, I used to fight a lot, but I had to because I was little. I was a preemie when I was born, and I didn't hit 100 pounds till I was like 17 years old.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm still not far from 100, even though, these clothes make me look bigger, but it took me a long time to hit 100 pounds. And so between, I don't know, I guess early elementary to middle school, I ended up doing a lot of fighting. And that doubled with being from out here, like I talk about, but being raised in a predominantly white neighborhood and being.
Oh, you was fighting white kids?
Oh man.
Because
what happened was I went to school and I was being, attacked because I was the only black. It was like me or Teddy. That was the other black guy. It was me, the only black girl, and then Teddy, the only black guy. And then I transferred it to another school, and it was still just me only. So as a kid, you're not tapped into that concept. I remember you talking about, like, I'm not surprised by the older people, it's the younger people.
Yeah.
And at maybe 4th or 5th grade, I started to feel that otherness from the kids, not just the parents. And I remember specifically a girl had invited me to spend the night. And she was like my neighbor. We always played at school. We lived in the same neighborhood. We were having a sleepover. And, her dad and my dad were kind of like Mr. Moms or whatever. So they arranged it. I went over. We had a great time, pizza, blah, blah, blah. Went to sleep. And her mom wasn't there because maybe she worked like nights or something like that. And in the middle of the night, her mom came home. And it was all of this commotion, like arguing or whatever. And I heard, like, you have that nigger here. She cannot be in our house. And I had to leave. That was like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Wow.
My dad came and got me. And there's a conversation around that as a kid that you don't understand what that means because you're just,
What city is this?
Torrance, California.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I experienced way more racism in California than in the South.
Me too.
I
be telling people that, and they get surprised.
So I don't want to hold up our conversation on crypto, but to just touch on this, like,
we so skated off.
I know, and it's because of me with the UFC and the money. But I once you say UFC, it was like, dude, I just went right
somebody
in.
else do it
Because no one talks about UFC. Like, I don't really have that conversation. Everybody wants to talk about basketball and football, but that UFC is still in me.
I don't even watch basketball.
I'm gonna go and watch a fight tonight. But anyway. About me fighting, and I think why there's that attraction is because I was in that environment. And one day in that same school year at Torrance Elementary, a little girl called me a nigger. Didn't know what that really meant because even though I was in the predominantly white neighborhood to live and go to school, all of my family was in South Central LA. So I still went there every day. On the weekends I was there. I was with my grandparents. All my family is black. I just go to school here. I love me. I don't have no questions about am I good or bad or none of that because it's always reinforced to me that I'm great.
Right.
It's just here where I'm different. And when she said that, I knew it was wrong, but I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. And so when I came home from school that day, I told my dad about it. And he was like, what? She called you what? And I told him. And he was like, tell your brother to come here. And my brother is like 10 years older than me. So I went upstairs and I got him, and my dad was like, make a fist. And don't have your thumb in there. Let me see you make a fist. And he had my brother hold his hands up. And we practiced fighting that day. Like, just... And he was like, if anybody ever calls you that again, that's what you do. So the next day, literally the next day, she did it again. And I went UFC. Yeah, on her. And it was such a shock because the day before I just sat and ate my lunch. I didn't like it, but it wasn't,
Yeah.
But this time I just went like nuts. His pops was like, don't come home again.
This what you do.
Yeah, he just activated like
Yeah.
I'm Born Identity. Like I'm on it. And my principal broke it up and it was a big thing. But nobody ever called me that again. So shout out to Jennifer Ball, the bitch who said it, wherever you're at. Still remember her name.
Still remember. I ain't gonna forget that.
Never forget that. But
Activation.
yeah,
Your
totally.
ass, Mr. Smith. you gonna get that when you watch The Matrix.
Right, okay.
Mr. Smith.
So
Your ass. Hey.
yeah, but I think from that point on, just it felt powerful to be able to know how to fight and to be underestimated. So I think I like the underdog for that reason because I was always the underdog. And then when I would beat people up who were bigger than me, it would be this fanfare of people around who were like, "Oh wow, you did that. I can't believe that you know how to fight like that." Because you don't look like you know how to fight. And also I never had to fight because I'm the youngest, so I always had my brothers and sisters are cousins.
Yeah, but the youngest
Yeah.
still know how to
But
fight because they the youngest.
But they also get picked on.
they the youngest. Yeah.
And it wasn't until I think like ninth grade that one of my vice principals was like, "What are you doing? There's no reason for you to be in here like this. You're too smart for that." And I let that go. But man, yeah, I used to fight all the time.
And that's where it can, I guess, that's UFC fighters too. That's a lot of them. They usually,
Always
I used to
fought.
fight. I
Yeah.
like fighting. I just like fighting. So I started doing it for a living. And
I don't have it
Oh,
in me
man.
to hit people, but I do want to learn how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't.
It's in your DNA.
I can't.
It's there. You just got to
Yeah.
tap into it. It is not to be violent against others. Self-defense is the only way.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, I know that hurts. I just hit the person.
Yeah.
Like, that's what
I can't even, it's not even really about people.
I just wanna
It's,
learn.
the art, it's a discipline that comes along with,
That too.
with it as well. But like I said, why I like it the most is more of the respect for the athletes. After hearing like MMA athletes are some of the highest, or they train the hardest training athletes in all sports, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like a snapping point to where it was like, all right, let me, look into this out of respect. Let me watch it out of respect and see if I could just get more into it. And then, it's like after that, it came the Rashad thing and rolled over a little bit more, watched some more stuff. And I was a fan. Played the game, love the game, still play the game. If y'all want to catch them hands, K Carpenter on PlayStation 4. Catch them hands any day on the game.
That's funny.